Florence City Design Review Board. Everybody was emailed the minutes, hand-mailed the minutes. Did anybody have any corrections or see any issues with the minutes? Hearing none, I make a motion to accept the minutes. Any second? All in favor? Minutes are accepted. Our first case today, guys, is case DRB 2024-02. It's a request for a certificate of appropriateness for changes to be made to the previously approved building to be located at 175 North Dorgan Street, specifically identified as Florence County Tax Map number 90167-02-019 and H1 historic.
To change some design elements of the facade. So this is the vicinity map, 175 North Dargan Street. It is in the historic overlay district, and it is in the central business district. So here's a current picture of what will soon be a 3-story building, and you can see the county complex in the background for perspective. So this was previously approved facade, ephes finished with stucco. So this was one of the options that the board gave to the applicant, and then also a brick facade. So the applicant is now proposing this Carrera marble tile, which will be on the storefront, the first floor, and then brick, this dark gray brick for the second and third floors for the apartments. So here's the front elevation, the rear elevation. Here's the sides, which will be a split face block, light gray. And just some 3D renderings. So here's a little closer view of the Carrera glass marble tile, the color of the brick dark gray, and then the split face block. And I believe the split face block will have more of the, I can't think of the word, the look of the middle specifications, and the brick will look more like the bottom.
It'll look like a typical brick, yes.
Look more like, right, exactly. Texture was the word also, thank you. So for the design guidelines, the previous building was demolished. This is a new building being proposed with gray split face block facade on the left and right side, which will be the south and the north, to balance out the dark gray of the brick and the Carrera marble tile. Distinctive features. The storefront was previously approved with large expanses of glazing trimmed with wide black metal framing, which has changed a little bit. And the wide black framing is meant to mimic that of other storefronts in the area, including Collins and Almers at 155 North Dargan Street. The new storefront does have a little less glazing in the windows. The door does have a little more glazing, so it's kind of a sort of a trade-off. The upper floors have symmetrical windows with facade accents to provide interest. And the new proposal will have a metal awning over the storefront. The height, the proposed building will have 3 stories, which was already approved by Design Review Board. The proposal is generally compatible with the majority of other commercial buildings, which are brick or stucco and have storefront windows and doors. The Carrera glass marble tile does provide an accent to surrounding buildings of all brick, but only for the first floor storefront, and then the rest will be the brick second, third floor, and then the split face block on the sides. The color of the brick, the dark gray, is different from what we typically see in our historic downtown, and also the split face block, which is exposed on the side elevation, is also not common in our historic downtown overlay district. And that does conclude staff's report.
Thank you, staff. Does anyone have any questions of staff?
Could you go to the elevation, the pure front elevation? Is that distorted, or is that truly the purport? It almost seems like, and maybe I'm just filling in the blanks here, it almost seems like the building is taller.
It is distorted.
It's
Yeah.
distorted.
It says, yeah,
For
and
the
that
PowerPoint.
to me is, it's unfair to do a design review on something that that is not indicative of what's gonna be built.
In the staff report, it is in dimensions. This is just for visibility on a PowerPoint presentation for a design review board.
You got a 24 by 36 sheet that's closer to square, that's why it looks narrow.
Right, okay.
Original.
Yep, I guess that's better in that one.
Yeah, I had that. Actually, I didn't get the hand delivered today. The first one I did, but not the second. So that's kind of unfortunate. The other thing is, for my edification, what is the floor-to-floor height of the first floor? So this is now correct as far as the proportion, Jerry?
Yes. That looks correct, yes.
Okay, that helps me a lot, because I was struggling with proportion.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay.
I would probably defer to the design engineer for that question.
The left one's correct, the right one's still distorted, and I corrected
Okay.
the front.
You still have a question on the second floor, Scott, or?
No, I
Okay.
did have a question about what's the floor-to-floor height. It actually kind of cleans it up a little bit, just see it, but do you know what the floor-to-floor height is between the ground level and the second floor?
FFE of the second floor, I think, is about 16 foot. About 16 foot above first floor finish. Floor.
Okay.
So that's basically 4 foot plus another 2 foot of floor truss or floor system.
Okay. And our ceiling height on our first floor is 14 feet, so that would be about the same. I'm just trying to see along the street, because it seems a lot taller than obviously the adjacent buildings, but they're just one story.
Right. And you're 8 foot on the second floor and third floor.
Okay.
With plus another 14 inches, 16 inches of floor system.
Okay. But that was the only questions I had.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions of staff? Anyone here to speak in this matter?
I'm the designer on this, so I can speak if anybody has any questions. My senior designer's here as well. We need her.
Okay, does anyone have any questions?
Go back to the elevation again.
DJ, can we go back to the presentation? Thank you.
I know we don't have the floor plans as part of it, which I think is pretty common because we're not judging floor plans. But it is interesting to me, or at least curious to me, as to why the first floor windows do not line up with the second and third floor windows. And I was just wondering if there was something happening in the floor plan that would prohibit those windows from being more aligned.
There's a riser room in that front corner.
Okay.
And I mean, the building's only 22 foot wide, so you can't really, we could glass it, but it would be exposed. And he's trying to minimize his glass to a degree because it's a jewelry store.
And I guess I know if you look at the design guidelines, there is sort of an encouragement for things to align. And I think that to me, it's a little awkward that there's so much solid there. I would almost want it to be maybe a spandrel glass or something that would give us the appearance of a window, even if it was solid, which is not. I mean, I'm not trying to design the building, but I know that's kind of our job, is to look at this thing. And I know that when I was looking at the design guidelines, it gives the facade sort of prototypes that they give you sort of shows the window patterns on the floors sort of relating to one another.
That's right.
As an ideal.
Symmetrical. Yes, sir.
It does make sense that there's a riser in there that Is that door access, is there an access from the outside?
No, it's not required because of the size.
Okay, so it's only access from the inside. Okay, that's better. That's all I have.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and close this public hearing and open it up for a discussion or a motion.
I'll make a motion, we accept it as presented.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries and certificate will be issued. Our second case to be heard today is case on DRB 2024-04. It's a request for a certificate of appropriateness for a metal building to be located at 615 South Dargan Street, specifically identified as Florence County Tax Map Number 90088-08-003, located in the D1 Redevelopment Overlay District. Staff?
Good afternoon. The applicant is seeking a certificate of appropriateness to construct a metal storage building as part of the Draper Myers Funeral Home. And it's here right across from the Maple Street, on South Dargan Street. And it is in the redevelopment overlay district. And it's zoned commercial reuse and has, general commercial zoning directly behind it. And that is the part that will be most directly affected by the, building. So this is an overview of the building. The red circle is where the foundation for this has already been laid, this storage building, and the purpose of the building is to store their hearse and other cars for the funeral home. The yellow lines are the property lines, and they're a little bit off. They should be over. The foundation is about 9.5 feet from both the rear property line and the side property line. And it's about, I think I measured about 175 feet back from South Dargan Street. The green circle is where there's a brick fence between the building and Dargan Street. And these are the elevations of the building. It's just your standard metal building with a garage door access on the end of it. So I guess they'll be stacking the cars on the inside that way. He said it would be blue metal to match the house with white door and windows, and the black roof to also mimic as well as possible the funeral home. And these are some pictures of the site. The one on the lower left shows the brick fence from the street, and so the building would be behind that. And the lower, or the right side photos show there is a concrete block wall along the back property line. So it would be behind that, but it is about 18 feet tall, so it will be taller, obviously, than that fence. And those are apartments behind it and the parking lot of an apartment building. The required setback in the commercial reuse district for a storage building like this would be 10 feet on the side and 20 feet on the rear. The foundation as poured does not quite meet that for the rear, and I think it's about half a foot on the side. But you do have the prerogative of approving it where it is without requiring a variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals. The materials used on this commercial building don't match those of the existing principal structure, but the applicant is attempting to mitigate that by using similar colors to the existing building. And again, it will be in the very far back corner, and without looking directly up, through the lot, it's really not visible from South Dargan Street. And it could be further buffered by adding some plantings along that brick fence or along the edge of the parking lot. So the applicant was not able to be here today, but that concludes staff's report.
Anyone have any questions of staff?
When would we not approve an outbuilding like that?
I think it's more a question of the materials and their appropriateness.
Okay. I was thinking about Mercy Medicine on Coit Street. They had to build they had to build their storage shed on another piece of property. Do you recall what that was, how that went?
That one, I think you just required some extra landscaping around the building itself.
Okay.
But that was a much smaller storage building.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if the focus was more of the building or the variance, because it's right up, but then they have the other storage building that seems to already, but it may be
Right.
more temporary than this one. There's a lot of variables. So,
I mean, it's in the corner of the lot where it would be the least visible from the right-of-way, which I think is the main concern, especially in the historic districts.
How many accessory buildings can one have?
2,
And how many do they have?
it looks like they'll have 2.
It looks
Well,
like-
in a commercial district, there's less of a restriction on the number as long as they are in the building envelope. The smaller one is not in that building envelope. But I'm not sure how old that one is.
It
And
looks
they
like to
do
me
have to
there's-
be under the 25% square footage of the principal building, and it looks like combined, the 2 buildings still would just meet that threshold.
I don't see anything wrong with this project in and of itself from being able to see it from the road, the variance and all, but you just don't want to set a precedent if the variance is also in respect to your neighbors, which could be on the backside. They already have that big cement fence, so I don't see any problem with this project, but I'm worried if our decision could affect.
Well, that's why you
Future
look at them individually, site-specific and everything.
It looks like losing parking spaces to put this in. Does that affect anything?
They do have parking across Dargan Street, on a parcel across Dargan Street for their, I don't want to call them customers, but for the clients of the funeral, attendees at the funeral home.
Yeah, that was part of their original zoning compliance, because they didn't have enough parking spaces on site, so they secured some off-site parking.
Gotcha.
And by having that garage, they will be able to free up a few spaces because the cars, as you can see where they are now, would be inside instead of outside.
So what is the size of that building?
It is 30 feet long, I believe, by 16 wide,
Let's see,
or 8.
30 wide and,
I know it's in there.
I don't see the length of it.
I think it's in the project description at the very front.
No, it is, it's 30 wide, that's right, 16 wide, 30. Turn that.
What is the size again? 16
16 by 30.
16 by 30?
30
Yes.
by 21
Or 30 by 21.
30 by 21?
in the very first part here.
Oh, yeah, that's okay, let's just see.
So
that.
30 by 21. A parking spot is approximately 10 by 20.
Right.
I'm not sure how many vehicles you're gonna be able to put in there and not be smacking the size of that thing. I couldn't park it anything in there, namely a hearse. I think they're gonna really struggle to get more than one vehicle in there. But that's kind of their problem. You mentioned it was gonna be blue to match the building. The building's gray.
They told me that it would match, he described it as blue, but yeah, it is gray.
Can we get an assurance that it's gonna match the building? Because if it's gonna be blue, it's not gonna match the building.
Right. We can certainly require that.
And I don't know, can you require landscaping? Because you can make it so you don't even know a building's there. If
You certainly
Yeah,
can
you can.
require that.
Anyone have any other questions of staff? Anyone here to speak on this matter? Having none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and open it up for discussion or a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I think with the questions that have been brought up and without the applicant being present, I would make a motion that we defer this case to the next meeting next month.
Have a second?
Jerry, can we do that? Or does the applicant have to do that?
Typically, the applicant has to request a deferral. However, we were unable, after the applicant told us he couldn't be here, we were unable to get it back in contact with him. We tried to relay that to him, because I do feel like they would rather defer rather than, have it denied at this time and give them the opportunity to answer questions. But technically, they're supposed to request it. I think we've acted in this way before to help the applicant out.
Can you go back to the photograph one more time? I'm just trying to maybe figure out. What is that element behind the van to the left of the storage building, of the right side storage building?
I think it's like a trailer.
Okay.
Cargo trailer.
Okay, so that's not.
That's not another building.
That's not a building. Okay, so technically, if you're correct that you can have two outbuildings, this would constitute number two?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Staff, if y'all could contact them to let him present it next month, and strongly encourage him to have a vegetation plan and a definite color in the next presentation. Our third case today is case 2024-05. It's a request for a certificate of appropriateness for a wall signage to be located at 183 B and C South Coit Street, specifically identified as Florence County, tax map number 90074-05-007, located in the D2 Downtown Overlay District. Staff?
Apparently, it's actually A and B, but these are just a group that is using two of the units, and they just wanted to put some wall signage up to identify where they are. It's at the corner of Chevis and Coit Street, and it's zoned Central Business District. These are the signs that they want to put up in the two units, Suite A and Suite B, and they are, right now, they're just in the windows. This is in Suite C, I guess it is. The Hoffler Law Firm has a similar, it's pretty much the same size. The only difference is this one is on a board, as you can see, to give it a little bit of shape and dimensionality. But these are the signs that they want to put up to the right of the doors of those two units as well. So they're 6 square feet each. They'll be flat, but that's in keeping with a lot of the other signs in this district. So, and they're not lit at all. So that concludes staff's report.
Okay. Anyone have any questions of staff?
What's the total number of signs? Two.
Yeah, one for each door, each unit.
And that same sign will be attached directly to the brick?
Yes.
Any other questions of staff? Anyone here to speak in this matter? Okay, approach the podium and state your name, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Manningham. I'm the County Director for the Florence County Garden and Liveness Program.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for her? Do you have anything you would like to state?
No, my expertise is in advocating for children, not for signs. So if there's anything we need to do to improve, to get your acceptance, we're willing to do that.
We'll see if we can help the kids find you then.
All right.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Does anyone have any discussion or a motion?
Motion approved as submitted.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Certificate will be issued. Thank you. Our fourth case today is case 2024-06. It's a request for a certificate of appropriateness for an exterior changes to be made to a building located at 505 North Dargan Street, specifically identified as Florence County Tax Map Number 90072-14-031, located in the D1 Redevelopment Overlay District. Staff?
Thank you. This is a building that's in, across from the Mike Rickenbach car lot, and the applicant is renovating it to turn it into a law office. It's zoned commercial reuse as well. And here's some site photos of the house as it is now. The intent is to replace the vinyl siding with hardy plank siding in the same color, replace the windows, and to enclose the porch. And I did get elevations. Here's the elevations of the enclosed porch proposal. So they would just move the windows forward, and but it looks like they're going to keep the columns up. They just want to make it look a little bit more, a little less residential, a little more like an office without taking away all the character of the house. So they'll enclose the front porch to add office space and increase the commercial character. The lattice will, underneath the porch, will be replaced with brick, and the facade will be a mixture of the brick and white siding. New vinyl windows and a front door will be provided. The roof line, which looks to be about the most historic characteristic, will not be changed, but the windows will be replaced with vinyl windows with the same number of muntins. And the applicant's proposing brick and white hardy plank siding to replace the white vinyl siding. And the enclosure of the house will make it a little bit more commercial in character, but it will not stand out. There's a variety of, there's churches and houses and commercial uses in that block as well. So, and the color, the white color will be maintained, and the main siding will remain horizontal siding. So that concludes staff's report.
Anyone have any questions of staff?
Could you just go back to the, that just right there? I don't have any questions, I just want to see it again.
Okay.
Was enough.
That's all you get.
Okay. No other questions of staff. Is anyone here to speak in this matter? Approach the podium and state your name, please.
Good evening. Ron Brown, I'm a contractor. What are we trying to do here, like you stated earlier, is make it more visible and better for a commercial environment. Now, do understand this is very new for what we're trying to do, so some things may change. One of the biggest thing is the veneer itself, or whether the facade. We're thinking about the hardy plank, but maybe sometimes a wood siding that we can paint other than the vinyl. And of course, you know, the windows to keep, because there are some windows that are already there that we're gonna stay in line with. And like the lady said, it's 505 Coit Street, not Dorgan.
That's what I was wondering. I live on Dorgan Street.
Does anyone have any questions for him? Okay, thanks.
Thank
Anyone
you.
else need to speak at the matter? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and open it up for discussion or a motion.
Make a motion, we approve it as submitted. I'm making too many motions here today, somebody's got to.
All right. Joey's carrying too much of a load, guy.
I must have somewhere to be, right?
I'll second the motion. I just want to make sure that if any changes are made that beyond what we vote on, that I would suggest that at least they go through staff and go through any proper protocol.
Okay.
I amend my motion to what Scott said.
Can I ask a question? If there are any changes, do we have to come back to the board and rediscuss it because we're on a time sensitive?
If the staff approves it, you don't.
Okay. She says it okay
Then you're good.
Wonderful, thank you.
I think if they're in direct alignment with the guidelines, we can administratively
Sure,
approve that.
like, because one of the pictures showed a metal railing. Of course, we're not going to leave a metal railing on a commercial property for the law office, so just some small things we might change, but we'll certainly bring it to her attention that we stay in guideline. Sounds good? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Certificate will be issued. Congratulations, guys. Our fifth and final case today is case DRB 2024-07. It's a request for a certificate of appropriateness for a monument sign to be located at 320 West Chevis Street, specifically identified as Florence County Tax Map Number 90074-06-022 in the D2 Downtown Overlay District. Staff?
This is right across the street, pretty much from the previous one. This is the Florence Darlington Technical Building at the corner of Chevis and South Coit. You may have noticed they do have they currently have a monument sign. It's looking a little shabby, so they just want to replace it. It will be the same shape. This is the details of it, and it'll be a little bit taller and a little bit wider. It'll be 78 inches tall and 48 inches wide. Will not be lit, and it will be flat, like the ones on the left there. But it'll be in the same location. So other than that, no other changes. The colors will be the same. Just a definite improvement for them.
The new size meets the guidelines?
Yes, it does. And it's a large building, so it's not out of scale.
Anybody else have any other questions of staff? Anyone here to speak on the matter? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and open it up for a motion.
Motion to approve as submitted.
And we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Certificate will be issued. I think it'll be a dramatic improvement down there. Staff have anything else today?
Yeah, just one other item. I do want to introduce a new staff member that we have on board. This is her first week in our department, but it is Miss Patricia Carver. She's been with the city for a while. She's been working as a building inspector in the building department, and she is the new planner one in our office. Her background is in architecture. She has a degree in architecture and urban design. Is that correct, Patty? Okay. Well, so I just wanted to introduce you to Patty and welcome her on board.
Welcome, Patty.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
And that's it for staff.
Okay, I appreciate everybody's time today. Our next scheduled meeting is scheduled for 2 p.m. on May 8th. And as of that, we are adjourned. Thanks for your time.